Untied. It's the neck piece for me.
Thank you.
That is gorgeous, man.
Thanks. Show them your hair clip. Look how nice that is. Very creative. We have a lot of creativity now, hey?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Untied Talk. This is a season where we are going to be talking about culture. Everything and anything about culture. What we've experienced, what we've observed, what we like, what has affected us, and what we want to learn. So today we're going to be talking about our Roora experiences and just Roora in general. This is a part of our culture that has a lot of opinion that comes with it. Because
Serious
people do it differently. People have different beliefs when it comes to Roora. And people feel a certain way about it when they're on the receiving end.
I think even if they're not on the receiving end, there's some feel to it.
Yeah. It comes with a lot of tension that day.
Yeah.
That day just has a lot of tension. The build up to it is very peaceful. It can be pressure for the guy when he's gathering.
It is pressure.
It is pressure for the guy when he's gathering funds. But if he's already well off, then probably the pressure comes in the planning.
Probably.
In the planning and in just prepping for this thing that you're about to get into, right? It would be nice to hear from a guy one day. If you're a guy and you're listening to this, could you please just send us a voice note telling us?
Or even, if you're brave, we can even do a live with you.
Like,
where we have a conversation about...
And you tell us all the drama, because this stuff that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
So, we would know, obviously, what our guys went through if they were totally honest.
But
the stuff that I'm sure is just, just guy stuff that they go through. But anyway, we're going to stop by. So what is Roora? For the benefit of those that may not know, this is a bride price that's
it is.
Paid.
It's lobola.
It's lobola. It's paid to a family to honor them, sort of asking for their hand, for the daughter's hand in marriage. That's our version of that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, before we carry on, hi everybody, I'm Tare.
What's an eye?
Wadzi went straight into the intro. Roora. Guys. It's like I've got PTSD from Roora. Do you know, I would get so sick to my stomach.
Oh my goodness.
Whenever the phone would ring and it was my mom or my dad.
This is before?
Or just anyone. Yes.
Okay.
I had PTSD. It was terrible. Like, I would just be like, oh my God. What now? What is it? Like, Okay. Because also, let me give background to that. I am not for Roora.
You're not.
I understand why it's done, but I feel like we live in a time where it's been abused. And I think from the age of 13, had always been against it because of that. I mean, I don't mind someone going to honor my parents and saying, I would love your daughter's hand in marriage and giving a gift. I don't mind that. What I minded the most was this open-ended, unspoken list of items and quantities and values that just didn't make sense. And the older I got, the more questions I had. So, for example, like, you're going to ask of a man who's going to marry me, we're going to have a whole life after this day. It's not based on this one day, right? You're going to ask of him money that you can't save in a year. You're going to ask him to leave you that money. How is he going to do it? Especially in the country that we live in, especially in our economy, Like, those were my questions. Like, let's be practical and realistic.
I get
like,
that.
You've got a list of wants and needs and whatever, and you expect this man to take care of me. And I guess the whole idea of it in the past was to honor and then also show that you can take care of our child. But the asks lately are just ridiculous, And so that was where my biggest challenge was. Like, I'm like, you show me if you can save $5,000 in a year, no problem. you're justified.
Yeah.
But if you can't save the $5,000 in a year, then why do you expect it of the person that is going to take my hand in marriage? Because we're going to have a whole life after this. I mean, I
Yeah.
came into this marriage with a child, which meant there was already responsibilities over the normal setup of, you know, here you're marrying our child, right? There was added pressure. So, like, let's put that into perspective and let's think about it.
Yeah. I get that. And the justification behind that is what they've put into your life all these years.
Yeah.
I know he has to like just pay it within a year, but there's also like all these years of what they've done, which obviously cannot amount to what he's going to pay.
No, but
So-
my question is, right, if you're taking that stance.
That's not my position though.
No, okay, not yours, but
Yeah,
like, I mean,
yeah.
if that's the thinking,
Yeah.
you birthed this child. The child had no choice in whether they came out as a boy or a girl, right? So for you to then say, kuti ndakamiendesa kuchikoro, ndakamutengera manapkin, ndakamudai, you are going to do that anyway. Whether or not I'm going to get married today or never, you are going to do that anyway. Saka, why are you batiraring this young man for things that were your responsibility?
Yeah.
Do you do that to your boy child? No. What if your boy child decides not to get married and no one does that to him, right? Like, there's no logic behind that. If it's about honoring, let's honor. I understand that. But if it's about takadai, takazomiendesa America, akazoita lawyer, akazoita bachelorette, akazoita masters, it's not about that. That's not why the culture was started.
Yeah.
So let's not make it about things it's not.
We shouldn't, hey. It would be nice to know the actual origin for this. Because I know back then, it was a family effort. If a guy is going to Roora, anopiwa mombega, dzinenge dzagara dziri mumusha, monorora. Now, I feel like it's a standalone. Unotozvionera wega. And it's because of circumstance and I guess just how things have evolved.
And also information not being passed down.
Information not being passed down. And also, not every family has that wealth anymore.
Exactly.
You're not actually able to be helping this guy out, even though your heart would really desire to. Then there's also the guys that anotopiwa mari erora kana kukwereta mari erora. I'm always just wondering, if you're going to like full on kwereta mari erora, muchanojigei mumbai momo if you cannot even like do
Put
something.
money aside.
It's like, I'm not saying go rob a bank or anything, but it's questionable if you cannot afford to do that. Are you going to be able to provide? Can you not wait until you actually have that money? Because there's no rush.
But see,
a lot
this
of
is
people
where-
rush.
And do you know
want
why they rush?
Dakudaimba,
Do you know
but
why they rush?
Why do they rush?
Because the girl would have put pressure.
Why do the girls put pressure?
Because we've got this culture in this country, yekuti kana usuna kurorwa, there's something wrong with you. You know, I came back from university, right? And I was probably like 22, 23. And I saw this one girl, and she says to me, Saka, auna kurorwa. What's wrong with you? You're 23 and you're not married yet. And I was like, can you back her down, please? Because I am not there yet.
So it's an achievement for some.
It's been made an achievement. And you know what's been made an achievement? It's not the marriage itself, but the day, the event. You know?
Because it then brings certain joy and happiness for the family. Like, but in a way,
I think it then also then stems to certain materialistic things, because it's like saying, it's like you're counting your worth based on another person coming in to make you worthy. Do you get what I mean? Because
that.
it's all about, especially now on social media, if you see, it's all about, oh, and the cows were brought home, and oh, look at me on my day and whatever. It's about the day, but you forget that there's an entire lifetime thereafter. So for example, in my experience, right, we had so many issues. It was ridiculous. It was like, what is going on? My uncle tried to sit us down to break it down, because whenever I asked my dad, and I mentioned this earlier, about certain things, he didn't have the answers for me that made sense or that satisfied my need for answers, right? On why certain things are done, why it's done the way it is, and why it can't be adapted to suit each family accordingly, right? And then my uncle sat us down and he explained the entire process, why Roora was started, and how Roora before was something that a family would it was just basically, it was literally, as you explained, honoring the family to say, thank you for raising this beautiful woman that is going to come to my life and be my wife. And it was also a chance to have the families meet and get to know each other because that was their wedding. Right. So for the guy, how it would work was his family, his father, his brothers would help him amass what he needs to take for Roora. So each person would give him something to take. I don't know if that's still done now. Right. But in what I've seen, I haven't seen that.
Okay.
It's you stand for yourself, do Roora, figure it out type thing, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess it gives a level of responsibility as well.
there is that. But then the whole thing is it's a family thing because
Yeah.
you're all marrying this woman, right? That's the whole idea of this culture that we have. But then if you then now break it down and look at things like uperekwa and whatever. Anyway, my experience. We did everything according to the book. A week in, because we asked to do a joining of hands at the same time as the Roora.
Okay.
I think 2-3 days before we were supposed to head out to my hometown because it's not my parents don't live in Harare. My dad and apparently the Mfundis that was going to join us then sat us down with her husband and they were like, yeah, so there's no rings and it's an issue that there are no rings. And it's biblical. And I was like, show me. Open in the Bible where it tells you that you have to have a ring for a marriage to be deemed a marriage, right? Show me that. Yes, a ring is a symbol, but it doesn't say you have to have it. And we had decided we're not doing rings. We're going to give each family a tree that is going to show and grow and represent our love.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
the growth of our love.
That's very cool.
Right. They were adamant, Wadzi, about this ring thing. And we were like, Jack. And the phone is like, Kana musna mari, oye mari munotenga ma ring. And my husband was like, Jack, this is not why we're doing this. It's not about the money. When I'm ready to buy my wife a ring, I will buy her a ring. As you can see, I don't wear a ring because we're not jewelry people. Right? And he's like, it's not about the money. So keep your money. It's okay. We're not doing this. If they don't want, then it's okay. We won't then get married the way they would like us to. Right? And then his father comes on the other side and adds to this as well, guy, with his own dramas. And we're like, this is the day before. I remember sitting there talking to my godmother and saying, you know what, I don't think this is going to happen. I don't think I'm going to get married tomorrow. I don't think I'm going to whatever, because once my husband's made up his mind, he's made up his mind. He's not going to change it. And for him, he was complaining and saying, I'm trying to do things the right way, but you keep putting hurdles. If it's not this, it's that. If it's not that, it's this. Like there is something. As we get closer to the day, something else comes up.
Wow.
I could have simply just gone and eloped and not come to honor you. I am trying,
To honor.
And we were at the point where we had both decided if there's anything else, we are going to go to court on Monday and get married. Forget this whole Roora thing because it's not about that anymore.
It was that bad.
It was that bad. And here, they all knew that we were against the process, but we were doing it because that's what they wanted.
Wow.
The long and short of it.
If we did a documentary on Roora drama, I bet you it will be the most entertaining thing.
And it would be a 4-hour documentary.
4 hours, did it? Every family has its own. It's like that's where all the drama just wants to erupt.
I mean, my spirits cannot I don't know.
Yeah, I think that contributes because it's and it's just a lot of interesting stuff. And then also just people generally pulling rank. And
especially
also,
people that don't know you, that are just there to count for the people that should be there. And then they're the ones that are like,
yeah, I guess that just comes with the day, and that's how it's like. I personally respect Roora because I feel like my family should be honored for what they've done in contributing to my life. I come from somewhere, right? But the honoring bit has to be true honor. So from the heart. And then also them also really just not trying to get rich on that day from me, from my Roora. My dad is late and he always used to, whenever I would read in the paper, and it's like this hilarious heading of how much someone has paid. And he's always like, these so-and-sos trying to get rich. Roora awufanele arisidei rekuti makuda kutopfumira ipapo. Idei rekuvaka ukama. So
Exactly.
I grew up with that, right? And fortunately, all of his siblings have the same mentality. So my uncle, I'm very grateful, and I love my uncle who stepped in and was and represented the family on my Roora day, Sababa Wangu. And that was beautiful, the support system that came. I had my own thoughts because it was my Roora, and you feel like this is my day.
Yeah.
So I have my own certain expectations of how I would have wanted the day to go. But then I learned that it's actually not about me. It's about the family.
It's definitely not about
And
you.
what the elders decide is best. So I didn't have a say in who could come. I remember I wanted my friends to come, and I was advised that it wouldn't be a good idea in order to protect the image of my future husband, so that if there's drama or if he falls short, then there's no like kutaura about him and stuff like that. And I felt, oh, this is actually, he's protecting me. So at first it's like, I want to do this, I want to do this. And the next thing when you hear, he took time to explain, could you know, you're protecting, because family stuff must just be family stuff.
I love that. Though.
So the only people who know what happened at my Roora were actually really family. Even if some of the family members who were there were people who I had no personal relationship with because maybe I didn't grow up knowing them. But Ningeri Hama that he brought in to step in and say, Paroda panoya, like anatete, anababa vechichichi, like the whole rank, the whole hierarchy and who was important that I wouldn't have known.
I actually don't think I had friends either. I didn't have any friends there.
And I get that, and I think it's awesome. Though now when I look at social media and I see how people now
I
are
know,
doing
right?
stuff, I'm always like, yeah, I wish this was trending during my time.
Yeah.
And why I'm chat
Yeah.
because it's literally family, and it would really then have value. So I really love what guys are doing now. And then so when I look back then, it's like, okay, I may not have done it that way if it was completely up to me, but I love how I was protected and how my day went smoothly. Then in terms of the pricing, it was very reasonable, nothing like, people now trying to live off, So even though there were a lot of people, there were many people at my Roora. And now I look at it as, okay, it's people who came to celebrate me. People who came, in love, all the way from where they came from. Even though they didn't know me, but so it's a beautiful big day.
Yeah.
Then there's nice cool stuff that happens behind the scenes of, the whole Mariande and Nonga in the theaters come and they're like, so we need I did that, and I always laugh at that. I'm always like, give me my money back. But hey, this is your guy and you're helping.
Exactly. And that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to help them out because you're a team.
You're a team. I don't know though about those that then give the whole amount to the guy to come in Roora. That wasn't my story, and I will not comment on that. That's people have different things, like what you said. You want your day to work, and and you go to any length to make it work, and that's what was okay for you. Then that's fine. The other thing, Roora, the dressing. Yeah, I wasn't under pressure to like cover up, but I sort of was under pressure to like look decent. And I remember asking one of my aunts, Kuti, okay, so I need to dress up in a certain way that's gonna give this, takupa imurora, akapfeka zvakati zviri decent in what they would have expected. But actually, this is not who I am. And I always, and I said, does it really matter like what you wear on the Roora? Because it's not really a true reflection of it's
No, it's not. It's not at all.
But then, it is what it is, and you go by the rules.
I don't even remember what I was wearing.
I remember.
Because I remember I was literally in the kitchen the entire time. By the end of it, my feet were painful. I was done.
Really? And then I had amazing cousins that stepped in and like did the food.
I think that's the thing, because I don't have cousins my age that were here. Okay. So it was just me and my Mainini and I think one other person. It was brutal.
Sorry,
but then if they didn't know what stock they were getting, that day they learned. Kuti, this is good stock.
But this thing of let me show you, Kuti, what are you getting? In that's where I honor Roora, but that's where my problem comes now. But Kuti, first of all, family yako, when they decide my daughter is worth this much because because she has a degree, or because, or almost like you're selling off a servant that's like, okay, this is how, And if you then put in the whole stuff that comes in when some mothers, not mine, mine never did this with me, but some mothers literally will say stuff like, hey, unofanira kugona kucleana mba because musi wacharorwa usazonotinyadzisa, like stuff like that, as if your whole life is just being prepared for that one moment. And it's like, right, but we have prepared. Now look how worthy she is, and she's worth this much because ABC. And yet, that's where my problem is. Because can you actually place a value on someone? How many people have you heard now? I paid Chakuti for you.
This is what I wanted to then bring on, Kutis. These statements, right? What my biggest issue was with this entire thing was, you're setting the foundation for the relationships that are going to be built. So all the drama that happened before, for me, it was, are you serious? This man is going to be in my life for the rest of my life. If you guys start on a negative page, how is it going to be possible that I am going to remain in your life? Because I love this man, right? And likewise for his side, like, what are you saying? How is this relationship, how are these families going to bond and merge if you are going to show the worst of both sides? Like, what are you saying? How are you going to then form the relationships? Because some things are difficult to come back from, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everyone came, they were supposed to come, everyone was there, people were happy, people whatever, but it still formed the foundation of the relationships. Because you've put value without realizing it on that one day that's going to shape the rest of your life.
Because this day is an important day in our culture, Tari. Unfortunately, we've placed more value on white wedding. Like, if I think of myself, I remember thinking a lot more about my wedding day than I did my Roora. Because I knew my Roora was all about, okay, it's what the family, it's like, But my wedding day is my wedding day. My dress, my what. Everything has to be perfect. I put in that, and I feel like a lot of us put in more effort in the wedding day because we've probably placed it above Roora. And this is why certain people don't actually recognize mchato. Like, it was to church people, then it's like, no. And yet that actually, if you come Pachivan, that is actually the union that should be recognized. Now when people want to say, okay, so white wedding, then it's like, okay. Because the church I grew up in actually always used to recognize that. And it has white pastors, and they recognize it, and they said, no, we understand that in your culture, this is your thing. So they didn't put that kind of pressure. It's our fellow that have adapted to white wedding culture and actually want to put that above. And I understand people's beliefs and stuff like that. I have a ring. I don't wear it all the time because I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm always like, in the mix of stuff. I will not get it dirty because of that. It's just the season that I'm in. It has nothing to do with it. And get it lost, because then I'm removing to like do something, and it's like, that's why it's there. So there's that, just to comment on what you said about the rings and stuff. But I feel like Roora should not lose its importance. And I know there's
I think so too. It shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
But I think what people need to bear in mind is that this is the beginning of the rest of your life.
Yes.
So don't focus on the day itself. In terms of, yes, put value on it, but remember that your actions are repercussion that is going to be, like, it's like a river. Like, or if you drop a stone in the water, it's got ripple effects. Just know that that's just the stone getting in. But there's a current that's going to come afterwards. That's what I want people to remember. Like, you can put value on the wedding day. You can put value on Roora. But remember, you are starting a relationship. This is the foundation of the house you are building. So everybody is playing such a crucial role. And they need to be cognizant of that. Because at the end of the day, how many in-law families, for example, go and visit each other? And this is Marorana. You are now family, right? You should be able to be in the same space together. Like, so for example, if my brother was to get married, because you don't put value in that relationship, but it should be there.
It should be there. Unfortunately, we cannot control what everyone else brings to the table.
True.
And you and the guy will be cool on the day. Like, mem texterana, so how are you feeling? Are you okay? Yeah, torne tension yake o. Nevan vake o varukutomi so pressure kuti. You cannot show up like this. A, B, C, whatever, whatever. The two of you, I think, as long as the two of you are cool, and just if we just accept kuti people are people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like for us, like I'm the oldest girl in our house. So Takato Dizira Bandiri, everything that happened.
You're
only
one.
actually seeing Kuti so because when it's in your household, that's when you actually see the tension
And
to
the
the
drama.
full stop, And and how people actually show up. And then next thing it's like also some people want to resolve their drama on my day, and it's like, oh, so you're because previous ningi. Now it's like, but unfortunately, your day is now their battlefield, and that's life. And unfortunately, if you're not prepared, now people know. Now we know. And whenever someone will ask me, I'm like, you're getting Roora. Okay. Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit drama.
You say a little bit, I say brace yourself.
Well, some families are different.
No, but I say brace yourself because you never know. Like,
Anything
just be prepared for things to go south.
Yeah, because there's also stories we've heard about where the guy doesn't show. And it's like, Mama kato we run and then they just don't show up.
I think that's painful though. Or, like you plan and then the date is cancelled or whatever. That's really
and yet
painful.
all these months, I think it just shows kuti guy is not there in it.
But in your
Don't be
pressure.
forcing.
In your pressure,
Kuti
you'll
girl
be
was
put
putting-
into under pressure, right? Maybe not necessarily the girl, but the families will put pressure on you to do something and you can't say no. I think, guys, let's normalize the culture of saying, not right now, we cannot, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay, I think.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
you need to say it. Because it's a repercussion. Like, I mean, if the guy then comes and falls short or whatever, your family is just going to be like, already they've formed an image of who this man is that may be contrary to what you know of him.
But then it's fine because they're going to go to their own houses at the end of the day.
Yeah, but then remember, you need your family. Remember,
I know.
because vanhu vanobatirira kachigumbu chisitomboripo.
But there should be leeway for him to finish off. Like I know on my side, he didn't finish, and then next thing is like
That's another thing about Roora that people don't talk about. So my uncle then explained kuti Roora haipedzwe on the day.
Yeah,
Roora, because the idea is for the rest of your marriage, you keep going back because that's how you build the relationship.
Yes.
So you keep going back because people then, it's a chance for people to keep seeing each other. That's how that was the idea, that every so and so often, to keep growing the relationship.
Yeah, and I guess it just requires a level of humility as well, where for the guy, I just guess you just have to be able to take it in because, and it's like, it's painful. Like I said, it would be nice to get a guy to come and talk about and how they've dealt with whatever pressure and words that were spoken over them that they heard and how they were treated because nobody has the right.
And how that's affected the relationships.
With the wife and how no one has the right to mistreat anyone who's actually shown love.
Yeah.
Because
no matter how it comes out.
No matter how it comes out. I understand anger that comes from next thing is like badara damage and then feeling disrespected.
I hate that word. Oh my gosh.
Well, but that's what they say and it's the whole feeling disrespected and feeling hurt by the disappointment and feeling like I'm gonna like actually fix you for this.
But actually, the process why, for example, my husband got upset, if he had gotten me pregnant and he had to pay damages, it would have been over like that.
Exactly.
Which is really silly because you are angry. You are not happy. You are saying that he's defiled your child. But then it can go that quickly. Whereas someone who's coming to honor you and show you
properly.
Love, you are putting hurdles and guys.
But
our culture's messed up.
It is messed up. And I think it all just goes back to Van Venwakamira say.
Yeah.
Because if in your family, if there's unreasonable people who are just interesting, If you know,
That's a nice way of putting it.
you better prep your guy kuti bra inini kumba kwedu kuka.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to let
ABC.
him know, kuti uyu akadai, uyu kwakadai, zvakamira zvakadai, you know,
But
this is
then-
what my people are like.
Yeah, but then like in my case, like I said, where I was the first, it's like, okay, it's actually a first for everybody there, and then you're nervous and stuff like that, and it's just like, you know what? And then also I'm just gonna pray. Whatever happens, happens. Because I've chosen my guy.
True.
And I don't need to be like, and they also don't need kudangomisera mwana for nothing. That's when you see people's heart positions as well. And the love they have for you. Because other people you've heard stories where some taters will be like, wangwa, asataenda anyway. Oh, Dr. Oktange, oh, why? Do not be surprised if she's the one who's going to start stuff on your day. And you
cause
get where
hurdles.
it's coming from.
Yeah.
So some things you got to be able to just separate and forgive people, because you know kutaka mirapapi weighs their heart in this thing.
That's true.
And stuff. And just spare yourself the unnecessary hurt on your Roora day by just getting into it, knowing, you know what, this person is like this and that. It could turn out like that, like that, like that. If there's something you can do about it, that's good for you. If there's nothing you can do about it, besides praying and everything, then you just take it in and
one step at a time.
One step at a time, and only hope that it's not going to be one of those where guy and his family are going to be like, can also do one day.
But you know,
where it's like-
Zunoitika, it happened like in our family. It happened recently where the guy was just like, you know what, I came to do the right thing. You guys are not. You're putting hurdles and full stops and whatever. I can't do this, and he left.
Wow.
And I feel so sorry for her because I don't know if she was in agreement with her family or her family just went and did what they wanted to do. But as a result, the relationship was broken.
Sorry about that.
Because I mean, you can push someone. You can't. There's a limit.
There is a limit.
There's a limit.
And
So
there's
if
also-
I could try, but you keep pushing and pushing and pushing, pacha shika point yekuti anungoti, you know what, self-preservation, I can't.
Yeah. The thing is though, and I'm not saying this directed to him, the one we're talking about. Roora exposes everything in everyone.
Exactly.
So it's gonna expose
Exactly.
in Nini as well. It's gonna expose kuti chi chakadzika handiti.
My true
So whether
characters.
I'm also gonna be like, hey, you are married to my dude. It'll show kuti
That's exactly
what
where
was
my
I
heart is.
expecting, you know?
Yes.
And if he is gonna easily walk away and not fight, it can show maybe how serious he was and what length he's prepared to go to get his bride. And like I said, it's not directed towards
I
him.
know.
I know guys who have fought and said, you know what, fine, okay, I'll show up tomorrow. Okay, it's the process. I want my wife. Fine. And then when that's over, it's over. But you fought for your wife.
Yeah.
And you're not going to punish her for what the family has done.
But you're right, it does
Most of the-
expose
And then
character.
it's like, so it exposes, the same way it exposes Hamazedu, the elders, where their hearts are and what they really want. It also checks where you are at and how much you want this or how much you're putting pressure on this person. Because that's when you find now, like what you said, we find out because some girls are actually putting pressure. Kana wazunzo aninga kutara, hey, you know, hey, how we are, kana China cho and stuff like that.
Saka
And it's like-
umurorere.
and then also some people
Ukurorwa
who,
nge.
if it's a pure love story and no money, and they will elope and be like, we want each other here. And we're not going to let money get in the way. It just shows where they really, really, really want it. It's like, all right, we've done what we can, we did our part. I can honestly stand before God and say I did my part. Chick, let's go.
Yeah. Do you know what I wanted to bring up though? I know we're supposed to be at the end of our conversation, but I wanted to ask, and maybe we can carry this on a live thing after the show. We're talking about, I want to be honored as a girl. My parents need to be honored for what they've done for me. Who honors the man?
For
Who
what
honors what his parents have done for him? Or who honors where he's at?
My answer would be, this guy is walking into a life of honor already. Do you know? Compare right now in Roorand. If I look at how my husband is treated by my family,
In comparison to how you're treated.
the respect that he has, the respect Emukwasha has in a family, that's your for life honor, bruh.
But then now,
the
if you
chick
bring
is,
that-
and now look at how the chick is treated.
That's what I'm saying.
Total
So now,
opposite.
if you look at that, right, and that how that looks, should the honoring not be done both ways? Because surely, if it was done both ways, we would be treated differently as Varora in a family.
I don't think that's what actually determines this whole thing. But then there's an episode for that.
Yes,
and,
we shall
and,
talk
and
about
there
that
are
in the
other
next
cultures
episode.
that where is it the Indians that pay, auntie? Where
Yeah,
they pay,
vice versa.
yeah, for the guy, and then
Yeah.
and it's an interesting concept, and it's different. And if people want to honor both ways, do what works for you. And as culture is evolving, I will not even be surprised if this somehow ends up being done pamberapo. But I'm just like, with the way things are done in ours, you have your life, you have honor for life with the way you're treated. How much honor? I mean, because the family Yemurume is respected more. Though true honor, because what is honor? Monetary stuff. Like wandipa my wabadara mombe too.
All right. Tozoshtara
Like
next
how
week.
do you weigh the honor?
Tozoshtara next week type of episode.
It's fine because then if the
Dinema
honor is talking,
opinions.
if the honor is monetary, then compared to what? Yeah. Anyway,
Dinema opinions
Kananini.
are strong.
I think it depends how we then measure the honor on this one. Kuti, how do we also honor the guy's family?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what is honor?
And also, are you giving people an equal footing when they step into this marriage, into this relationship?
Anyway, Roora.
The therapist in me is coming out.
I still think Roora is a good thing when done properly and when
Yes,
done in love.
I
And when
agree.
done by family.
Yes.
And friends. If you're a friends person or if your family has friends that are valued in that way, by all means. And I just think do whatever works for you and your guy and your family because you come from somewhere. Anything else before we close off?
There was something else, but for the life of me, I can't remember it. So
Okay.
we'll probably
maybe
do
when
a
we
live.
have the live.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is interesting. Tell us your Roora story.
Yeah,
This is
please share
Untied
with
Talk, where we talk about anything and everything. We try not to filter.
Yes.
That's the whole point of the show. So, yeah.
Bloopers and all.
I'm Wadzanai.
And I'm Tare. Please follow us on social media
Yes.
at Untied Talk. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You're watching on YouTube or you're listening to the podcast. Yeah, thank you.
From us to you.
With love.
Bye.
Bye.